zero views sucks. Everything that has to do with starting is pretty uncomfortable.
Biggest thing, at least for me, is that when I start doing things, I want to see growth.
The meta episode. So today, we're going to talk about something different. We're going to talk about ourselves, as Val was calling it. It's the meta episode. We're talking about our own podcast. We're talking about different strategies for social media. It's getting harder and harder to grow on social media. The algorithm is getting very, very difficult and tricky on Instagram, on YouTube. So today we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I want us to go a little bit shorter on it, so we kind of can go back and forth. So especially that's for me, keeping our information shorter and more cohesive so we can go back and forth. So with that being said, I'm going to shut up. I'm going to let Emmanuel talk for a little bit.
All right, so social media is a whole new landscape in the past couple of years. We've all had to learn it. And yeah, with this podcast, it's a bit of our experiment and seeing what works and what doesn't work. So we've been playing around with shorts, with reels, with YouTube highlights and stuff like that. And we're still trying to get better and better at it. We talked earlier about some good techniques. So hopefully in the next couple episodes, we're going to try implementing them. Do you want to highlight some of those techniques?
Well, literally just, this is us. Welcome. This is a podcast. This is a podcast about a podcast because we're real people and we're also a nice blend of filmmakers, media producers, videographers, and everything like that. But we don't really know how things could happen because it's our first time doing like a podcast. So we're reflecting on what we're doing and trying to move forward with some new ideas.
I think Val had an idea. Val's biggest idea was like we should just do the next episode naked.
Yeah.
Oh, snap.
See? So that's one way to go viral, and we're still thinking about it, but we don't want to go that direction yet. So if everything fails, if shit hits the fan, then I say OnlyFans or naked podcast, naked creativity.
Naked podcast could be on OnlyFans.
There we go. We can do both. I think we can do both.
But you have to pay, guys. This is a free trial, so enjoy while it lasts.
enjoy the show.
Like the money is supposed to be in a different platform. But as we try to learn and live life, we're going to try to make this one not suck for us, first of all, and then for you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's a brainstorm. We're just throwing and breaking through the fear of producing any content. Like, why not? That was our first statement, I think, for all of us. And we're like, yeah, we are some in the medium, but we're not, podcasters. So, and we're very honest about it. So we're trying. We just had a little conversation about how things. It doesn't really even feel good for us, and that's we are our own like critics, and then from there we will have to make as many changes. So roll up with the change, guys.
I think one big thing is that we all know a lot about content creation and content production in general, and I think all of us in different capacities have worked with marketing before. So we all know what we're doing, but we're implementing different strategies that we don't know. So we're implementing a lot of AI stuff that's very new. Like Emmanuel gave us a couple of different examples, like Opus Clips and other AI tools like that, like even ChatGPT, and we're using that. And I think sometimes it helps and sometimes it doesn't. And we're trying to learn how to use it better.
It's about optimizing. So the whole thing with production is that we've worked with so many videos or type of videos that would go on YouTube, would go on commercials, or would have their own marketing team for social media. So it's us trying to see what works for a different type of content that we don't make. We don't really record podcasts for other people. At least I don't. I don't know if you guys do. But I do more, I think the closest thing would be talk shows, right? Unless you want to pay me to. But like the closest thing a lot of us has done is more talk shows. People talking, blah, 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 blah. So it's now seeing, okay, how can we enter that new language of social media? So different tactics we talked about is about having highlights in front of our videos. It's about having different little things to kind of keep people's retention. So I think that's the biggest thing we're trying to learn. And I think it's all fun. I think it's all an entertaining thing because it's learning all these different things and all these different parts of the social media aspect and then making it work.
Yeah, exactly. Just going back to it, I think that we always have a lot to do on our own plates individually, so it's hard for us to all have like a very specific schedule and whatnot when it comes to the podcast. But we are meeting weekly and we have really interesting topics we talk about. So what we're trying to figure out is how do we make those topics stay relevant to what's happening. So this big thing happened today. How do we post that podcast on the same day that this thing happened? Well, we need to meet on that same day. And that's the kind of thing that we are figuring out as we go. And I think we're getting really good content when it comes to specifically those shorts because, well, first of all, content has changed a lot in the recent years in the sense that the time span for people is super fast. It's like you have 5 seconds, you have 2 seconds to hook them and their attention, and then they're gonna stay for a few seconds. Their retention is super low. They're going to stay for a few seconds on your video and they're just going to scroll past by it because the amount of content we get available today is just insane. So
it's also about kind of like trusting the viewer of like, if you just are putting random clips out there, people aren't going to want to stay. If there's no like, I guess
context,
not context, but like if there's no like reward for you watching the video, you're not going to want. So if you put something in the front, they'll be like, okay, I want to know how this ends. You'll wait to the back and then watch the ending, which a lot of videos on social media don't do either. So I think that's creating that distrust. Even for me, if I'm scrolling and I see like someone's like getting off topic on like a 10-second reel, I'm gonna swipe. I'm gonna go real quick past it.
Yeah, and I also our critics are being way beyond normal, thought. I'm always thinking of how, the length and if the topic was introduced, if it was supported by ideas, like there's a lot to do. But then we realized today talking that we're going to just keep it more authentic, more as opinions go. And that could be, something that we have to even get better at, which is funny because like, we know everything about production. We know a lot of things about communication, but we're still trying to communicate effectively. And that's what producing content looks like. It's never, same path for everything. We notice that the short version of the long version is it should be addressed different, but it doesn't mean the content wasn't said. You know what I mean? It's like, it's just different dynamics, and I think that's what it makes it meta from us, and that's what it makes it fun too, and a huge challenge because, we're busy. We're trying to make our companies go and personal projects and everything, but this one is one that we actually enjoy, and we're just gonna get better because I think 3 of us have the same type of take in everything we do. It's like we just want to improve. It's not even about to be famous or better or like the top. No, it's about to not feeling proud of what we do. So I think.
So something I want to bring out is that I think that what we're doing right now, regardless of the views that we're getting on YouTube or regardless of how the content is creating engagement or not on YouTube specifically, I think on Instagram and on TikTok, it does add credibility to us, especially on Instagram when we do the collaborator posts. I think that a lot of the subjects we talk about here are relevant to our audiences across different platforms, like on Instagram, for instance. So if we talk about a specific topic that's relevant to our followers there, it's kind of relevant to both, to Unboxed Creativity and to our followers. And when that happens, they merge between each other. So one follower goes and checks out Unboxed Creativity. And that's the whole thing with the collaborator post. Now, something that Instagram does is if you post between 2 accounts and you do a collab post between 2 accounts and they're both big, they're just gonna increase your growth even more. But if you have an account that's way smaller than the other, they're gonna do the opposite. They're gonna hold you back, and you're gonna get less views than if you posted it on your own, because they don't want the smaller accounts to grow. So it's very hard, it's very tricky what Instagram's doing with the algorithm right now, even when it comes to the collaborator posts.
But respectfully, we haven't paid for any follower or any piece of content we produced. It's been handmade with all our efforts. So yeah, I'm proud of that. I mean, I feel like that's how we actually going to be able to get something out of it, because, you know, you can also, I mean, the amount of reels and content we're putting out there, to me, like, it's hard to break through an empty page. You know what I mean? Like, an empty page is the scariest shit ever. And now I feel, yeah, a bunch of faces of us, and it's kind of uncomfortable, you know, like, we're not, I mean, I'm not a person that loves to be on camera, and you know that, guys. But I'm like, well, you know, I'll face it. I'll work out my insecurities with a whole bunch of people watching, but it's okay, you know. But I feel like after seeing how we already got followers, comments, and, you know, genuine interaction, then we know that we can just make it better every time, you know what I mean? So we just go and bring up new ideas, new strategics, I mean.
But yeah, I mean, I think we all jumped on this because we all wanted to do something new, something that can grow what we're doing, and it's something fun. And the podcasting is something that is different from what we're doing on a daily basis, but it's still fun because we have to grow something and then learn the landscape of social media, learn the landscape of YouTube, and learn the landscape of doing podcasting. So even though they're tricky, and even though we're trying to figure it out, we just had a meeting for like an hour about different things we can do. It's about trying to, you know, get better at those things, probably like you know, as soon as we can, but also enjoy the process and enjoy doing it. Because I think the biggest thing, at least for me, is that when I start doing things, I want to see growth. And when I start seeing growth with whatever I do, if I'm working out, if you know, networking, if I'm making videos, I want to grow as fast as I can. But it's always, you know, taking that step back and realizing, okay, growth isn't going to be as you predicted, especially with social media and the retention, and then trying to get people to follow you or not.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's what motivates you is the success. Is if you start seeing progress, if you start seeing growth. It's the same thing with the gym, and we're all natural in the gym, and we're all natural here.
Natural as of now.
Organic growth.
But you're gonna see us in like the next 6 months with like 8 million subscribers and then like a fucking steroid body.
Just huge.
Guys, we're all natural.
We're still all natural over here, guys.
We have like 8 million subscribers and like no viewers. Like no one watches.
Exactly. It's like,
but yeah, I think we're
all.
learning in the process for sure. I think podcast is a little bit different than the other types of media production we've done and video production that we've done. So that's cool. And I do like what we've been doing, especially with the shorts and with Instagram. I think that's getting good growth and giving us credibility. I can say that for myself. With what Val said, comments, likes, engagement, and people actually saying, oh, they know what they're talking about. A lot of my followers are...
Yeah, I mean, we break throughs to not have something. You know how many people sit down like we did and say, hey, let's start a podcast. I have heard that
then don't do it.
thousands of times.
Yeah.
And even for myself, I've had this proposal before, and I'm like, I never take it because empty Instagram sucks, 0 views sucks, everything that has to do with starting is pretty uncomfortable. But if we don't care about that and we still can have a meta podcast, a podcast that talks about a podcast, is a way to figure that process out. And I mean, I know, and that was the deal about we're here to have fun, and we always do projects, and we make sure we have a good time. So that's it.